Hey there, my name's Niandra and welcome to Mercy Commentary VODs where I play Mercy, then talk about my plays and mistakes. This was one of my earliest matches with the new push game mode and Overwatch 2 overall. If you're new to my content, one thing you should know is I don't always review games where I played the best, or even well. Sometimes I like to pick matches that are messy, where I'm constantly making stupid mistakes that I know not to, because they can be the most interesting to talk over. Also, my ping was like 160, and there's a lot of new sound effects that are kinda scary and really throw you off at first. Anyway, let's look at this. I initially push up with my Sojourn and immediately realise that enemies are quite nearby because this is where the push robot starts off, so let's fall back. I don't like that Guardian Angel to Ana. It puts me in a really safe position, but I can't reach Sojourn from here and I'd rather be able to blue beam her than guarantee I don't take damage.
Where you need to go.
Ashe is gonna die to Hog and I fly to her. In any circumstance, I should have cancelled GA, turned around while hovering and flew back to Sojourn, but I'm feeling spicy and managed to get the res off. Then I'm like, oh, the ping system, right, what's the button for it? So I'm just kind of hitting random buttons on my keyboard while trying not to get hooked off my porch. Enemy Hog begins to flank, and I assume that my Ana and Doomfist are facing enemies ahead while me and the two DPS are looking at Hog behind. Sadly, Doomfist dies, which might be on me. I think you can argue I tunnel visioned on Hog, but he did have Ana healing him and maybe he just tanked a lot of aggro. Just there, I meant to fly to our airborne Sojourn and drift into the train car on my right. Sadly, I just kind of got stuck on everything and panicked because taking damage is very noticeable. So one thing I mention a lot is that Mercy can beam an ally while looking in other directions, and it's important to do this because it increases awareness. I noticed that in Overwatch 2, I spent a lot more time looking at my beam target in front of me so I can see the health bar above their heads because I'm so unused to Mercy's new circular healing HUD. Super jump resing out of cover is truly a Mercy staple. Okay, so I didn't realise that Ashe and I are basically pushing up to enemy spawn here. Our Ana dies and I activate Valkyrie, with my logic being double beam length will get me to the corpse easier to res, which kinda flimsy logic. And then enemy Hog takes us by surprise. I just want to replay that little segment and ask you watch closely. So what happened there is I damage boosted my Doomfist as he attacked Torb, who was attacking my Ashe. Now because I'm in Valkyrie, if I healed Doom I would also heal Ashe and maybe could have saved her. Unfortunately my greed got her killed and I was aware that Ana was dead. My team has clearly lost this fight. I should be falling back here whether Doomfist wants to come with me or not, but I'm like, fuck it, let's see what Doom does and maybe push the robot a few extra meters. He uses ult and I cannot predict where he's gonna land, so I just try to guess. I get it wrong and cannot beam him immediately, so he just kinda dies. Okay, let's fall back now. I super jump onto high ground for safety, but I should be careful on this map because many of the rooms have multiple doorways that enemies can access. I mean to super jump into the train car, then I hit my head on the roof and just kinda hover in front of enemy Torbjorn. Very good stuff. There I meant to GA to Doomfist, not in view so I could prop bounce on the bus, but I missed, so I just flew forward. This fight is a prime example of what I mean when I say I'm really bad at knowing when to Valken 5v5. We have two dead allies, then get a pick, then another, so we end up even, and the entire time I'm thinking, should I use ult or have we already won the fight? After some deliberation I go for it, right as my Tracer dies. That's often the thing in Overwatch where by the time you finish asking yourself if a play is correct, it no longer is. I I will be real though, I found it really hard to concentrate and play well when taking damage. I'm an extremely sensitive person. I'm so prone to motion sickness that I pretty much can't play any first-person indie game, but noise is my biggest hurdle. The sound effects in Overwatch 2 are really good quality, they sound great, but from an accessibility standpoint I really hope they get toned down a little bit. The way I would describe being hit by a torp turret is it sounds like someone's knocking on my skull, basically. We have health regeneration going, so I don't need to grab this medkit. We don't need to follow our injured Tracer here because we know there's a health kit in the room she just entered. I absolutely had no idea this small Swedish goblin was just living in a side room. I was trying to hide by crouching, which meant I couldn't do a crouch GA, so I just got kinda stuck. To be honest, at the time, I didn't think pushing up was dangerous, but now I realise I didn't need to. My position here was okay, I could damage boost Sojourn, and my Ana should be able to cover these two up ahead. There's a few good instances here where I'm damage boosting injured allies like Tracer and Sojourn, even though they aren't doing damage, we're just kind of chilling waiting for the team to regroup. I genuinely don't think I realised they were injured because I'm so unfamiliar with Mercy's new healing UI. Sojourn is gonna get hooked essentially just as I start my res on Tracer. For the most part it's just unfortunate timing, but I do think I should have flicked my camera view behind me to the rest of my team while flying to the corpse. This would increase my awareness a lot. There's a chance I'd want to cancel my flight and go back to my team if I had seen them injured or pushed up so far. Thanks to prefer facing targets, I can GA to my Tracer behind a wall. I was pleasantly surprised by how smooth I got into that room. That hook was a complete surprise to me. In push, I don't think Mercy can just play behind her team and expect to always be safe. You're really gonna need to keep your awareness up. Also, I was interested in reviving Sojourn there, maybe like super jump res it, but her soul was stuck to the front of the robot, so she was just kind of being pushed towards enemy spawn. Sadly, I got pushed into this side room since there was a torp turret on high ground and have a pretty messy, underwhelming death. Well, even with the clock pretty low, it seems okay for my team to lose a fight here as long as we regroup quickly. Our Doomfist is badly injured. I am going to start healing him, but Ana is right next to me and I have Valkyrie ready, so I should give my second healer the ult charge by letting her handle it. And there we go, a pretty messy win. Thank you so much for watching, feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see more exclusive Overwatch 2 content, and have a nice day.